There we go. And then I can put on my little timer so that Linda will notice the beeps in the background. There we go. Now, so we can lie down. You don't particularly need your trainers on. If you don't want to wear them, then you don't have to. Come and have a lie down on your back. All right, try not to fall asleep too soon. Lie back, make yourself comfortable. And all we're going to do to begin with, to warm up through the glutes, is we're going to start to bridge up and down. Now, the first couple of bridges, we're not very warm. All right, so you may not want to go very high. So a little tilt and a little baby squeeze might be enough. And then little by little, gradually rise up. All of the moves that we do today, we're going to go through them twice. So we will be back with this bridge later on. And when we get here later, with a bit of luck, you'll be able to go a little bit higher than before. And next time, when you bridge up to the top, just pause and give your bum a little squeeze, up and down, tiny little squeeze. Squeeze in through the glutes, just to get them to warm up. Then I'm going to lower my bum all the way down, open up through the arms for stability, and start to drop the knees side to side. Now, just because we're not standing up, doesn't mean we're not warming up, because we are. This is our warm-up, right? So side to side, dropping the knees over one way and then the other. But the warm-up is really not going to last very long. So when the knees drop over to the side next time, go with them. Now, it doesn't matter what you do with the top half of your body, but the bottom half, the knees should be stacked one on top of the other. And all I want you to do is open and close that top leg. Now, we call this a clam, right? It doesn't really matter how far back you go with the leg, as long as the knees come back one on top of the other and you don't roll backwards behind you. So you want to stay nice and close. Now we change the rhythm. We're going to go 3, 2, 1, and down. It's like a little mouth. Ma, 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 and then down. I know, I'm sorry. That should have just been one of those things that stayed in my head and I didn't vocalize, right? So, little tiny squeeze at the top, and you should be starting to feel the bum. Now, we'll straighten the top leg, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. Nice, long, strong lift. Wherever you want to be. So if you want to come up a little higher, come up a little higher. You want to go a little lower because that's more comfortable, then go a little lower. Just whatever suits you. Have a look at that leg and check that it's internally rotated. Does that make sense? So we twist it almost from the thigh to turn it in. That then helps us target the bum. But like I said in my message to you, our body doesn't like the bum to work. So what it'll do is look for an easier way to move. And the first thing it'll do is go, I'll tell you what, try kicking up to the ceiling. You'll find that easier. And so your body will sneakily try to turn the leg up to the ceiling. Don't let it happen. Now hold the leg up and give me some 3s. 1, 2, 3, and down. Now I've got my foot flexed, but that just is because it suits me. It gives me a bit more control. If you would rather point your toe, if I was in Pilates, I probably would. 3, 2, 1. And every time I lift that leg, I'm trying to touch my windowsill. Does that make sense? So I'm going to the same place every time, even though right now it's really starting to hurt. And you know what? It'll be worse before it gets better. Now hold it up. We're going back, down, and round. So I'm circling the leg, drawing a really big circle. Now, if you want to, you can change direction of the circle, as long as when the leg goes back, You don't turn the toe up to the ceiling. So you're still targeting those muscles of the bum. How's that feeling? Because for me, that feels really, really horrid. Then the top leg's going to drop, come up onto your elbow, and we're going to lift and lower that hip. So we're going into a side plank. Now you may need to adjust your position. So I've just moved my leg behind slightly so that I can squeeze. And if that's okay, then you can bring your arm up and over so we get that little side bend. Now all I'm going to do from there is roll over towards a plank. I'm on my elbows and it's the same leg. That's the leg that was moving already is now going up and down. So at some point in the very near future, your bum is going to really start to burn. And this is the idea today. We're trying to isolate the bum muscle. And at the moment, we're concentrating on the big muscle, the one that we call the glute max, the big muscle that's really important when we're running. It pushes us forward, or when we're walking, same thing. And it's also one of the muscles that doesn't like to work. So what happens is our hip flexor at the front gets tight because we're sitting down or we're squatting. And then the muscle at the back gets weak, which means it stops working when we try and move. Now hold that leg up and bend and straighten the knee. So what we're doing here is we're trying to keep the knee at hip height. Now I'm aware that some of us have injuries in the knees. If you would prefer to lie flat on the floor and do this move and take all the pressure off the supporting knee, then feel free to do it, because you'll get exactly the same sensation of working your bum and hamstring here as you would if you stayed up on your hands and knees. Now on the next bend, keep the knee bent, and I want you to lift and lower the knee up and down. So it is a tiny little squeeze up and down. Again, this helps isolate the glutes. So the bum, and for me, this is my right bum cheek, frankly feels like it's about to cramp. That's how it's feeling right now. It's gonna cramp, but I'm gonna keep going, keep lifting, up and down, up and down. Now see if you can do that triple pulse. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Do it again. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Because that, my friends, is the noise of me relaxing. It goes like this. Relax. Yeah, good. And under. Now again, up for 3 and down. And next time the knee comes up and down, come onto your knees and kneel up. It's hurting, but it's going to get a little bit more work. Squeeze your bum cheeks together, and then I want you to lean gently back. Now, it's hard to see because of my t-shirt, but I'm not arching my back. I'm keeping squeezing, and this cheek feels really painful, whereas the other one doesn't feel anything at all. But I am trying to squeeze them both as I lean back and rise up. Stay vertical. That should be your motto. Tuck your chin in and roll down and come onto your hands and knees. Now here we go up cat to cat. So what we're doing here is starting to warm up through the tummy a little bit. So getting a little bit of work through the tummy. Now, depending on where you've positioned your mat and your screen, at some point you may want to turn round. Find neutral and then come down onto your elbows, and this time extend both legs. So now we're in a low plank. Even in the plank, there should be a little bit of a squeeze in the bum. If you would rather have your knees on the floor, have your knees on the floor. Rather you do it with your knees on the floor and have a great plank position, really feeling the tummy, or then be up on your toes and not feel the tummy. Now from there, rise up onto your hands. If you can keep your off or on your knees. Lower the knees, and it's the same leg. So the leg that's still all achy, extend that leg, lift it up. Oh, golly, Dinah. Then extend the other arm, and we're just going to tap the knee under and out, under and out. So we're getting a little bit more work through the core. Let's do 4 more, under and out. Pushing your weight forward towards your fingers. And then on the last repetition, push back, take a little breather, turn round so that you're the other way around, okay? Hands on the floor, extend the leg out, lift the leg. So now this is the leg that's done nothing. Extend the arm and tap and lengthen. So now we begin all the work again on the other side. So we're going back through the work we've just done in reverse. Right? Good luck, everyone. So tap and lengthen. There's our 4-point challenge. From there, hold the leg back, tap the foot under, straight down, step back to plank, squeeze the glutes. Now it's up to you. You can stay put, or you can go high to low plank, up and down. Your choice, whether to move or just hold in either position. Let's do it once more and finish on the hands. Stay up on the hands, lower the knees underneath the hips, and there's the cat to cow, right? Tailbone tucks under, round the shoulders, tuck the chin in, push the floor away. You know what you're doing now. Push off the ground and come up to kneeling. Tuck the bum under, squeeze both glutes, and then lean gently back. Now the other thing we're doing here, of course, is stretching out through the front thigh. So even though the work is coming from the bum, we're also getting a stretch right down the front of the legs. And hopefully starting to go a little bit further. Press your toes into the ground, and that will help give you a little bit of balance as you lean back. Right? Now then, here comes the work for the bum. So I'm going to put my hands back down and I'm going to come onto my elbows. Now it's up to you if you want to stay on your elbows or if you want to lie flat. The knee is bent and I'm going to pulse. 3, 2, 1, release. 3, 2, 1, release. There we go. 3, 2, 1, release. That's the last one. Now just go, stay high and just go up and down, tiny, little squeeze, up and down, so that you start to feel the bum work. You know we're not even nearly there yet, right? Now hold the leg up and straighten and bend. Remember the option. While you straighten and bend, you could always be on the floor. So if you don't like kneeling on that knee, it's just a little uncomfortable, or you just feel like something you've had an injury or a scar there, and you want to lie flat, lie flat. But try to keep the thigh just off the ground while the hip bone stays on the ground. Okay, we are nearly done. We've got just another 20 seconds or so here. Just bend and straighten. Squeeze the bum and the hamstring. So the bum is holding your leg up. The hamstring is helping you bend the knee. Now keep the legs straight, down and up, down and up. Let's get that full range of motion. And that is where we really start to feel the glute max. Now, if like me, you're right-sided, you're right-handed, the same way I'm sure will apply to the lefties, but if you're right-handed, I know that my left side is weaker. What tends to happen when I'm doing any glute work then is the glute doesn't want to work, so I start to feel all kinds of other muscles. Maybe my quad, your front thigh, maybe your inner thigh, maybe even the lower back a little bit, because the bum just doesn't want to do the job. Now hold that leg up, tuck the toe under, lower the foot, step back to plank, and this time fold your arms underneath you so that you can roll to your side. Now, if you want to put that knee down at the bottom, put the knee down, and we're going to go, to start with, just get the down and up, down and up. And if you're comfortable with that, then you can go over and down, over and down. And if it's all a bit much, just rest your bum on the floor and just move the arm, and at least that way you'll get a little bit of a stretch, even if you aren't quite getting all the work into the waist. Okay, now here comes the last one, and we're going to lie down and hold. Again, it's up to you. Position yourself wherever works for you. And we're going to just lift that leg up, then circle back, forward and round. So I'm drawing the biggest circle I can draw with that leg. I don't know if you could see that, but my other leg started lifting because I started to roll backwards. So if you need the support of your hand in front to help you get that circling action, then go for it. Okay, and remember to try and draw the circle in both directions. So now our target moves away from the big glute max into the smaller muscles of the bum, the glute med and the glute mid. We're also thinking about stretching that hip flexor once again. Now from there, hold in the middle and just go straight up and down. Straight up and down. And at the same time, I'm trying to also lengthen the leg as far away as I can. Now, for me, I'm feeling my front thigh. What's that about? Again, it's because I need to internally rotate that leg. So not to let that thigh turn up to the ceiling, but try and turn it inwards to target those muscles. Now I can feel those muscles working. So try it. If it doesn't feel right, you're not feeling down the top and side of your bum and down the outside of the leg, if all you're feeling is your front thigh, play with the position of your thigh until it happens. Triple pulse, you remember that bad boy? 3, 2, 1, and down. And is anybody else noticing that it does seem now like that leg has caught up? Yeah, I definitely can feel my left leg as much as I could feel my right. Now make this the last one and then hold it up. Bend both knees in front. And this is a little more tricky in terms of position. So take a moment to make sure your hips are stacked one above the other, and you'll know because your knees will also be one directly above the other. This does not need to be a massive move. So you're not necessarily going all the way back, because that's just moving and rocking on your hips. For us, we're trying to open and close. Now, you know what comes next. like that. Right, ready? 3, 2, 1. There it is. 1, 2. In my head, it's like a Muppet. You know how they've got those flat mouths, like that. Right? 3, 2, 1. And now we're starting to really feel the bum do some work. We're about a minute away from half time. Okay? So 3, 2, 1, and squeeze. 3, 2, 1, and squeeze. Last time. And then from there, bring your hand from under your head in front of you. Drop your head onto the mat. Open the arms. Oh, that's quite nice. Then roll yourself onto your back. Now, when you get onto your back, pick up the legs to start with and try this. Drop the knees from side to side. So now we're getting a breather for the legs and bum. And if you're anything like me, my back side of my legs and my bum almost feel a little bit numb as we roll side to side. Now, if you prefer, put the feet down and do the side to side with the feet on the floor. Right, peeps, we're going to finish with the knees in the middle. Reset the back, and we've got a little bit of work to do here first, lying on our back. So go back to the very beginning. Neutral back, so a little gap, tilt the pelvis and rise up into our bridge. Now, can you feel those glutes working this time? And then slowly roll back down. If this is where you want to stay, then stay with this. But if you'd like to intensify the work in the glutes, come up, and when you're at the top, push through your big toe, little toe, and heel, and squeeze the bum in a tiny little lift. So it's a bit kind of, do you remember that video that was out, 1980s video, Eric Pritz? That one, like that. So just up and down, just squeezing your bum. Now your range of motion is up to you, but I want you to really focus on the glutes. Come all the way down and then try this as an alternative. Feet together, knees together, squeeze and bridge up, but at the top, keep the knees together. Now that feels okay. You want to do that, right? Keep the knees together so that you're getting a bit of a stretch down the outside of the legs, but you're working through the inside thigh. If that feels okay and you feel strong enough, then pick a leg, any leg, and bring one leg off the ground and up into the air. Rise up and down. Now, if that's too much, here's a couple of options. One, you could just bend the knee, which makes it easier. Two, you could cross the ankle onto the knee, which makes it a little bit easier there as well. And three, you could just go back to having both feet on the ground, squeezing the knees together at the top. Now, when you get to the top, we're all going to put the ankle on the knee. Lower the bum down, make a mental note of which ankle is on the knee, and then twist the opposite shoulder to the knee. So I'm twisting my right shoulder to my left knee right now, okay? So if you need to remember, you're either on the same side as me or you're on the opposite side to me. As I twist, I'm trying to get high and get round, but I'm also getting a little bit of a stretch through the glutes. Right, last one, lower the head and shoulders to the ground and try to roll the knee from the floor towards your face. So again, a little bit of a stretch, but also work in the tummy. Can you feel it? As your bum leaves the ground, there's the crunch. Okay, there. Now, from there, lower the bottom foot, uncross the legs, hands behind the head if that works for you. Breathe out and just a regular little sit-up. How nice is that? Doesn't that feel easy by comparison? Because we haven't done quite so much on the abs today just yet. Breathe out to crunch, breathe in to drop down. If that feels okay, and you want to start coming a little bit further, then come a little bit further. But if all that does is make you feel your back, then don't do it. Better to stay nice and low and keep it a little simpler and get the intensity than make the movement massive and lose the quality. Right, next time when you crunch up, if you're only part way, come all the way, and if you're all the way up, stay all the way up. And we want to come right up onto our bums. Hands go behind you, and we're just going to do a little tricep dip. Now, that tricep dip is more about the tummy today than the arms. So it doesn't really matter where you place your hands. If you'd like to make this a little bit more challenging, then bring the feet in nice and close. And instead of going back and up, I want you to drop back, and then as you come forward, lift up. And there's the work again, going into the bum. So bend, lift, and squeeze to rise. So it's almost a reverse plank, or a kind of, what could we call it? A tabletop style position. So bend and straighten and squeeze. Good, almost there. This will be the last one. All the way up and all the way down. Now let's get a little bit of abs working. I've taken my feet further away. Option one is to hook the hands behind the legs. I need to bring them back in again. There we go. And then rise back up. Option two, take the hands away and rise back up. Option three, pause and then rise back up. Option four, I can go on, honestly, there's so many. I could pick up the legs, that makes it a little bit harder as well. Now this time, roll back, put your hands behind you for a little support so you can relax your tummy and drop the knees from side to side. So that's giving our back a little stretch, giving the hips and the bum a little stretch, and we're going to go through all of those moves again. So from there, take your time and roll yourself back down to lion. Now, bridge up. Start with a regular bridge. There's bridge number one. That's what we're used to, and you can, of course, stay with that. Option number two, rise to the top and pulse. Do you want to stay up? Tiny little squeeze. I'm going to stay with that one for a little bit longer, but if you want to, put your feet together and bridge up and down with your feet and knees squeezing together as hard as you can. And then we go into our single leg bridge. So now this time I'm going to lift my right leg and bridge up on my left, but I'm actually really not. I might flip it out. Let's try putting my ankle on my knee, see if that helps. Yep, that helps a little bit. But again, this muscle is so lazy normally. My bum just doesn't want to work on that side. Up and down. I feel such a challenge to lift and lower. There we go. Now, option, of course, is to have that knee bent, to have the ankle on the knee. Now, we should all put the ankle on the knee now. So I've got my right ankle on my left knee, which means I'm twisting my left shoulder across towards my right side. And I'm trying to keep the hips still, and that's the idea. To be honest, I've got the ankle on the knee. That's really there to help me keep the hips still, so that when I twist, I'm focusing all the work into my abs and my waist and not into my hips and my bum. And on the last repetition, here it is. Lower the head and shoulders down. You can push down through the floor. Lift the left leg off the floor and try to roll. Now you can make that harder by straightening the lower leg so that you get a bigger range of motion. Try to keep your shoulders away from your ears. Even as you roll, your tailbone just off the ground. Nearly there. Then, foot down. Unhook the legs. Both feet on the floor. Hands wherever suits you. And we're going into a nice simple crunch up and down. So really the distinction is this is a crunch and this is a sit-up. But it's up to you. Work the one that makes you feel like your tummy is working the hardest. And to be honest, that might well be down here. Because coming all the way up, you may end up using your legs and hips maybe a little bit more than you use in your tummy. In which case, don't do it. So there's the crunches. Now we're all going to come up to sitting. So bring yourself up to sitting. The hands go behind you and you're just going to bend the elbows and straighten the elbows. So we start to bring in a little bit of abs work. Then it's your choice whether to add in the lift and squeeze. Trying to bring all of the lift from the glutes, not from the arms, right? So there's minimal, the arms are just there to stop you collapsing. It's all about the bum when you lift and squeeze. Good. Right, then coming one more time, up and down. We're going to go into our roll back. So option one was to hold the legs to give you more stability. Option two was to do it without the legs. Option three was to pause, and then you can start playing with your position by lifting the legs. Now, if you want to, you could lift both legs off the ground. She said, trying to balance. And even there, extend the legs and just hold. Now, if we were in Pilates, we'd call that a teaser. Right? Then bend the knees, feet down, hands to the back. Oh, let's catch our breath. Little drop, side to side. Letting the knees go from one side to the other. All right, nicely done. Now from there, I'm going to let the knees drop all the way over, and that's going to bring me round and back into a tabletop position. Now, it doesn't matter which leg you begin with because we're going to do them both. So extend one, obviously, extend one leg and lift. Now this time, when you bring the opposite arm from the ground, we're going to sweep them out and in. So you remember last time we tapped the knee, but this time we're going for the sweep. Okay? Try to stabilize by pulling the belly button towards the spine. All right, nice long reach. Then I'm going to stay on that knee at the back, put both hands down, and the leg at the back is going to step through. The other leg is going to lift off the ground if you can, so that you're in a Spider-Man lunge. Then whichever hand is at the front, by your foot, comes up, round, and down. Comes up, round. Now I'm reaching through the gap, but that's just to give it a little bit of a flourish. You don't need to do that. You just put it on the floor. Now there's a stretch for your hip flexor, but it's also quite a bit of work into the legs, bum, and tummy. There we go. Now that's your last repetition. Come back onto your hands and step your other leg back. Change the legs over. So now it's up to you. If you want to lower that knee gently at the back, then of course you can. I'm going to twist, reach round and through the gap. So there's a little bit of a needle threading thing going on. If you want to keep the leg up at the back, keep the leg up. And you're getting the stretch from this as well. I will be back here later on, but for now, hand down, step back to plank. So set up your plank and then drive your bum up into down dog, and then come over your hands for plank before gently lowering your hips and lifting your chest for an up dog. If that's too much, feel free to either hang out in the down dog for a little bit longer, or when you come forward, drop the knees straight away so that you're not on your hands and toes for very long at all. All the way up and then all the way down. Now next time, when you're up in down dog, pause, and I want you to walk the hands towards the feet and roll slowly up. And I promise you, you would be coming up at some point. We're not quite there yet. Bring yourself back down. You can get down however you want. Put the hands on the floor. Walk your way forward. What do we call it? We call it an inchworm. And we're going back up. Now, I like to go up into down dog because I quite like the stretch through my hamstrings. But if that's not for you, obviously don't do it. You could squat. And if you don't want to come all the way up to standing, because we are not standing just yet, then instead, go back to your squat and then crawl forward again instead of standing up. Right, we're all going to come forward once again onto our hands and knees. And we'll extend, please, the other leg up, arm, and sweep out and in. So now still trying to control this through the tummy. Oh, I'm going to collapse. And that's how it should feel. Like you're going to collapse onto your hand. All right, almost there. Out and in. Then from there, I put the hand down. And this time, I'm going to step the other leg, because that's the leg that's ready, around to the outside. So at the moment, I've got both hands inside that foot. I'm going to lift the leg at the back and wriggle my foot back. And then the hand that's nearest the foot rises and twists and then drops through the middle. Now, if that feels great, then continue there. But if it's too much, then you know you can drop the knee down. This is a brilliant stretch, but it's also work. Okay, so getting the most out of it. Then when you're ready, lift the leg at the back, step back to plank, change sides. And I know you may not find it easy to do. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do it, because believe me when I tell you, that move gets easier the more you practice it. Okay? It was something I couldn't do for a long time. But the more you practice it, the easier it gets. Now, that arm comes up. I'm going to bring my hand in, and we've got plank into down dog. You ready? Step back to plank. Drive up to like a yoga class now. And then all the way forward to up dog. Now, if you don't want it, it's okay not to do it. Right? Up and down. This is going to be the last one. And when you're in the down dog, I want you to walk your hands towards your feet and rise up. Let's just do 3 inchworms before we finish standing. Just 3. Walk to plank, walk back, either to squat or stand, right? And then do it again. 2 more like that. Number 1, push back and up. Feel like you can get a lovely stretch in the back as well as again as the work. So you'll notice that some of these moves towards the end are also stretches. Come all the way back up to standing, and we're going to stay in standing. Now we're up on our feet. Bring your feet together. Bend the knees, sit down and stand up. Easy as that. Both feet, get them lined up. There we are, that's better. Now all I'm going to do from there, and that I find that I feel like I'm standing like that, even though I'm looking at my feet and I know that I'm not, right? So knees together, squeezing them forward. Now I'm going to take my feet a little bit wider. Keep the knees following that line. Go a little bit wider. Knees follow that nice straight line. I'm going to put all my weight into one leg. And again, this is up to you. If you want to stay with both feet on the floor, stay with both feet on the floor. Okay, that's it, down and up. So now trying to drive through the heel as you come up, pushing the floor away. Hold on if you need to. Almost there, 5 seconds. And we're going to go back to having both feet together. You ready? Both feet together. Squeeze them in. Get the toes lined up, down and up. Squeeze the knees in. That gives you that little bit of a stretch, and it pushes the knees into a nice straight line. And we're going to go a little bit wider. Here we go again. The feet go that little bit wider. The knees still, oh look, my feet, what's that about? Driving forward. Now we go a little bit wider again. Check your toes are lined up. Okay, here we go. Now all my weight goes into the other leg. Down and up. Now again, if you don't want to be on one leg, that's totally okay. You can put the toe down, or you can stick with that little squat with the knees together. Driving through the heel, and you should start to feel the bum doing that work. There it is. Now from there, go back to both feet together. Now down and up. Driving the knees in that straight line. Take the feet a little bit wider. You know what we're doing, right? It's like we've done it before. Now take the feet a little bit wider. Now here's the change. A little bit wider and turn your toes out. Now try to touch the floor and rise up. Touch and rise. The tempo at which you move is entirely up to you. Right? Touch and squeeze. Touch and squeeze. Now, all I'm going to do now when I come up to the top is I'm going to pivot round and pivot my feet so I can lunge to a little knee lift. Lunge to a little knee lift. There and up. Okay, let's do just 4 more. Drop down and rise up. Drop down and rise up. Last 2, and you're ready to change legs. So change legs, you drop down and rise up. Drop down. Now the reason for putting these lunges, I'm just going to turn to you, for the last move, or last but one move, is to get that stretch again into the hip. Let's do 2 more. Drop down, rise up. And on the last one, when you pick the knee up, pause, hold on if you need to, and pick that leg up from the back to give the front thigh a little bit of a stretch. We haven't done a lot of work on the quads, to be fair. Most of our work has been on the back of the legs, change legs, the bum and down the side of the legs, with a little bit of abs work as well. The leg that you're holding, I'd like you to take it behind the other leg. Try and get your toes lined up, and you might feel a little bit wobbly. So if it's too much, take them a bit further apart. Then breathe in and bring your arms up. And I want you to go first one way and then the other. Right, side to side. Good. Now come from there all the way round and down, and try and touch your toes. Bring your head towards your legs. Do you feel that hamstring stretch? That's magic, isn't it? Then come all the way back up and change the legs around. So the other leg goes behind, and again, you're going to go side to side. It'll feel different, okay? Because one side's going to feel straightforward, the other's going to feel weird. Go all the way around and down. Try and get your head towards your knees, and then slowly sweep round and up, unhook the legs, and that 45 minutes, well, it's 44 minutes and 56 seconds. Well done.